Yemo bibia kwa ba na yemfo abramege TV and platform we eso nanama Agyarko afaya eye Agyapa Mercer and afin so Ken Ofori Atta ni detention ene na arrest se owura no omudi ni bagana anase oye den ewu US wono nanama Agyarko afaya on it sansona eye lawyer Edudzi Tamaklo legal counsel director legal Edma NTC amanyuku no so ena oye pan power da MPA boss ano what is MPA na answer na ibekwa kwoti nse no mesro se ode o comment betum na wa like na wa share wo bra wutie ye conversation no yenko ne ntia na nama Agyarko ensema okaye edifa Agyapa Mercer ho na how a osi react to King of Ratan detention any the matters arising na yekoba bidnaka ina ebeto aso mesro so ye obehwe video akwakosi ni wafomu abayenti nsem no yekoba ebeto aso
osuro because when we say what try say we movie every America akọ UK ye de beba Ghana osuro when we say what try say we free US ho akọ Canada ne tu atwi ye be ti no airport one man waba sabra na Ghana ha no no so dom FF private jet no America want me try sa de no etu ayi tie Dr. Dominic Ayeni also what can you say and can offer for competent Ghana or USA. But so we say America State Bako Attorney General na can offer Atta. I found a Senate ni lawyer. Brawo memwe. No, come to your country. Come back to you. Brawo memu can offer Atta come. I did no. Obia we finance minister for 7 years. Ebi ye bremu. Wo be ko position amoma I mean Atta 1 year. Entire minister. Nene musa te say immigrant bi e na nene mu basa ya wuni papers. Immigrant ane na mobi memu a wuni papers. Ya si brewu memu. E de next anti na no meti Agyapa Mercer. I was like seriously ama Ghana for. Na masira bone facha wo Ghana for ho no ho. Sam kasa bas e na wo ya NDC ni. Masa me nka obi party o de me kan say the fuel tank aye ma. The American say me 200 500 kwa market ya entonsi abunyado bu bibia bu me didi peche na mete me baby enu na me hwehwe enye obi party colors and I've been saying it say na Akufo adu 8 years no obobra papa ena obu wa mani ya enka former president John Dramani Mahama ko ni business e wa Ghana memmo mu biem but edu baby a Ghana fo nyina hu say Mahama is the hope. Mama Agyapa Mercer you know okot kan wo joy news so say emra no 1992 constitution no emra ne fa bay e na kire say wo be ye public officer account for your stewardship obi ono no former deputy minister energy enu akware na you kwa me kwa say me no at a point kwa no na me ni ministers kwa na Akufo no mo ye adwuma because me so mo nyina o ma ye sabi useless. Say tourism nyina member of parliament city a watena so 2016 we win 2020 we win papa papa wusuan kuma seat na secondary takrade no mu temu secondary wakoje ni 2016 2020 we ye minister of state ulusu poto Agyapa Mercer ulusu poto wa ulusu seat no e de ama MP NDC papa wusuan kuma tena parliament for decades. Papa Wusuan kumatina parliament for decades, but ulusu poto Agyapa Mercer. Wakwatine TV so muna muti brofo akese e na muti kroma na omaya lawyer for na book long kwa na mudi kukroma sei be brenkanya asasem ka kire Ghana ni se emra no 1992 constitution ni fa be na kire se wo be ye public officer be bu akonta kire wo manfo. Mama me send video no me di video na send mama me na Ghana fo ntie wo de no waka e na contract bi a okosa na Ghana for ye wo de wo constituency for e na ebu akonta o ma show red card wo we poto Agyapa Mercer enye wani wo se obi a na Akufo ado abre so wo ye deputy minister energy wo ye minister ni nyina no 8 years na wo kwa election wo se lusu poto akotena TV so keka nsem hunu e ka kire Ghana for se emra be na kire so obi be ye adwuma wa account na se Ken Ofori Atta se state ni se wafom a ye fa ne court ne establish prima facie against him ye establish ye prosecute no absentia because mu na mu de mu book long for mu na constitution mira no makom musko mu ni mu ade where you one kasa wotie o hu se wo making sense se wotie o hu se wo making sense e die enti na wo lose seat ye ku chop de ma NPP 2016 unya best 57%. 2020 unya more than 60%. Sit here ye muku chop no amemu fu tantani a hantan arrogance of power any kasa fun any kro no amobe boy ya mu firi se na Ghana ye mu dia mu lutu mu create ni mo lutu na ma share enti na Agyapa Mercer obi a wa ye minister wo constituent lusu poto agumwa enka unkotena TV so nka nkire Ghana ni se emra be na kire se so obi be ye public officer na obesom oban mu a o me account for ni stewardship video no mpatcho betimi aba ama me mo betimi abo video na ama me
is what is informing potentially, and I don't speak for Mr. Ofori Atta, his decision to remain outside the jurisdiction. Because also, a lot of talk has been made. And I hear my good friend, Prof, make the point that if you've held public office, you ought to be able to avail yourself an account. You ought to be able to avail yourself and answer questions. Samson, you and I are lawyers. What law compels an accused person to even cooperate with an investigator who is investigating him? What law? What rule requires Mr. Ofori Atta? Are you going to please allow me to speak? What law requires him to even be present for anything? A burden in all of this rests with the Attorney General to prosecute and lead evidence to prove beyond all reasonable doubt that the man has a case to answer. If at that point he elects not to defend himself, the court can proceed to convict him. But we made it look as if to say he is under some obligation to be in Ghana to assist the investigators investigate him before they take him to court. How is that even possible? We said all manner of things. Look, I'm for accountability. I've served in public office.
Asemwa Agyapa Mercer ti won mo keka. Say ye create impression be second Ofori Atta is under any form of obligation. Say I was so Ghana no be answer questions. Who fi say school for nkwara ho? Who say ye class 1 for? We are talking about former finance minister. Former finance minister ya do o mine sikasem e share nsa. Finance minister, we are talking about Obia, ye do o mine get sikasem nyina share nsa. Na wan fa dwini nyansa anto ho etam sika na nu ye say na yi ye friend say amena yi o matwi cathedral amena yi a pai ntontom de we o manfo mtie sika fo me regifoi tontom we awi o Ken Ofori Atta tontom de ama wo amena na okokotu enkrofo properties wo so obuni nyina gu fom I was say ye tua judgment debt o say ye tua compensation de ma wo mo amena no o ma wo man no boka millions of Ghana cedis. And what do you mean? So we bet letting so catch you say Ken Ofori Atta is not under any form of obligation so be answer questions today. What do you mean say we bet national television so na Agyapa Mercer we go wani mu ase we kwa election NPP seat we report we be catch Ghana ni say ye create impression bi say as Ken Ofori Atta no or the Ghana for can we imagine? Minister of State on over to Omaika 120 billion. Ede Omaika kodu 720 something billion. What catch you say you emre bien ho no mo a e kekere ne say wo mra Ghana. No ma me face Ghana mra. Stabilization funds na dem. Sinking funds na dem. Sika say emre be na Ken Ofori. Sometimes omo ya no mo free say omo deliver the Jimmy for. Emra ben Ofori Atta dina so a ma Bank of Ghana Central Bank governor just a year twesika more than 40 billion ede man wo so fa nkoye ne beye. Emra ne de honu plane say afibia no ye refufu from a say abani here support na say Bank of Ghana be print sika mana 10% of previous budget. 10% of previous budget say ebetwa broso onko parliament for approval can Ofori Atta ne your friend say BOG Dr. Nestadison omo call parliament ko secure approval from parliament and sana within 2 years just 2 years you just over 80 billion e dey ma can Ofori Atta. You sit comfortable e wo TV so e catch the Ghana ni say you create impression bi to say as say mra bi wo ho because you people think say 8 years no na mudi muaso mu fi say ye agimifo. Because President Mahama Kasa wati oral Ghana for who say a looters and robbers na na di so it expectation is that President Mahama be dealing with more buy and more pe pachaw live again mo na namase e pachaw enti the audacity so be better things no aka ora na gu ena na mu free so obeche hwan ena boni be no obi di ye enti kan Ofori Atta kan any omra Ghana he's not under any obligation 1992 constitution e fa bia no me kire say as a former finance minister on ask questions ya bono what America ya woni nkrata omra Ghana kan Ofori Atta mra Ghana Attorney General say by the end of this month say kan Ofori Atta Ghana has say ya na say yan deport kan Ofori Atta for na ma the position as AG Minister of Justice no obeja ya to Agyapa Mercer mo na mo say mu book no amaken kan na fa fa mo adwiri mu no so with the common sense member of parliament papa who saw come as a candidate akurade ya te second di amount 2016 unya vote be say 57% 2020 unya vote more than 60%. Ako lusu poto unje adwuma mote parliament okay say kan Ofori Atta na ne niam a wo ya NPP MPs mujina parliament mujina Ghana e ka kire sem can must go mo NPP MPs that hypocrisy onya bi dia enwo ano no wabenya ne ho 8 years ento ofisa mo wa kire nyamu nimu nyansa Agyapa Mercer wabenya ne ho chaw ento fi say ye wo akire no obia nimu nyansa MPs some say 80 MPs they di kan I can't remember say honorable say chairman sabo so no a minority leader e be kan ye e say ye MPs ni nyina e ye NPP MPs nyina and e call for the removal of a finance minister kan Ofori Atta ye ni kurom ha and na mi kurom MP na you a press conference lead NPP MPs so mo come constituency ani ebu omu tutuo ye ni kurom ha and na MPs common fund na kan Ofori Atta entua mo ni bre ya se won kwankwansa na release the common fund di amamo ye ni kurom ha and na kan Ofori Atta e sori a wo je bosia e do man no e ko kam situation man nko obi mu da ye ko mu o debt restructuring program external loss yentimitua afa Paris club na ye da wo ma ye pa wo mo chew Paris club na ye pa wo mo chew China for kwa ka say agreement wo mo sign no e de be ne ko mansa na China for kwa no wo mo accept ye proposal for debt restructuring program external debt na mutimitua no akwatene TV so catch the Ghana ni say emra ben force kan Ofori Atta say omra Ghana no omra me account for 7 years or your finance minister na mo kan ye mo NPP MPs na mo din komo na mo kan se wo se kan Ofori Atta ko e di enti na kan Ofori Atta na do we need 2020 kan Ofori Atta no wonyale wa koye kidney transplant kan Ofori Atta convert ne nanim sa ye ne mfro hono wa honhono eso no wote ho e di na wo je you think say America buying e be tolerate ne ye te ho wo Ghana ha say no say we America finance minister no man ya say under your watch under your leadership no we dwane akwakwatra country fufuro na nka America no ko to bomb wa country fufuro no ko de koso akwa destroy country no yana yeti Ghana han we misi we ya kan Ofori Atta wo ben fetire obefa lawyers ne ade ne court ne ade ne ba ne aya adjournment ne ade ne ko no otue sika no wurawura mu wo be hwa ne ya granting bill no adamu 2 days no adamu 3 days 4 years chin some nursing 8 years chin some nursing na kan Ofori Atta ne nam ho Nigerian president Tinubu ba ya pe ne central bank governor what no what dem 7 months and yes I didn't asem still ade a cha okoko to ba because Nigeria for so say Nigeria central bank governor Emma womo inflation do 22%. Now ye 54%. Womo so mo naira a week. But yet the rate at which Ghana currency a week globally no Bloomberg ratings omo deba. Ye ka wiase nyina sika na ye fun ana Ghana sidika ho. Sri Lanka your mania na Ghana currency and Sri Lanka for currency air compete. But that Sabrana na Sri Lanka currency one economy no crisis no omo prime minister omo tu no. Omo tu omo prime minister. And so situation crisis na ken Ofori Atta de Ghana akomo no na Sri Lanka nu sa situation no. De na mudi yi mo ho ano COVID. Wo kan COVID and na COVID. COVID yenya sika over 20 something billion. Mu che sika ni nyina. Mwa parliamentary candidate ya some original ayi e be ka kire Ghana for say COVID sika onya bi. Mu che COVID sika. Mu di COVID sika. Mu che COVID sika. Auditor General report on the buy. Mu di COVID sika. Heritage Fund nyawo de musako bomu yi sika. Mu che COVID sika di ye. Mu ka Ghana for gudem se mwa e dia kwaje COVID sika be chediye mo che sika ni nyina diye ye wie ya pa na mo de COVID levy ma Ghana fo si ye ntua mo ka ye good dem e pa Ghana fo vote nti de e te ya ne se o mo kekeka e na free electricity free water bill free electricity free water na for aka free bisi ni ba bia o Ghana fo free ni ba bi o ye kwa election wie mu jemense wie mu ma na akufo ado after election pen akwadwo opon kroma ebe ka kire Ghana for say free bisi bia ni ba bia ana mutu tonka ne ani so bom bum wo Ghana ha anda ken Ofori Atta sika COVID mu yenya sika ketwa COVID na destroy Ghana francophone countries COVID bra Ghana inflation do 54% no Togo ha na inflation was around 8% be enka we omo ba ya na omu ni adwen omuni gold board adwen kabana nka dollar enam $1 25 cedis omeka sa ha America kwa kwachi Venezuela president nti na dollar edu 25 Ghana cedis eka don ga tikete Ghana fuano no eni pa wa mu bu amanya tembia wa mu twen say ye benya crisis ye wo country bi so wo ma gina so de atwitwaade wo mo ho omana self fertilizer nim o me Russia Ukraine war Akuafu osu yenya fertilizer nto ya say Russia Ukraine war uso ka ya o me Russia Ukraine war o me COVID me sinka ba now me akwa abwaje se mo ka kire Ghana for say do mama me ye hwe na dollar bedu 25 Ghana cedis ka we den ko ma nya ne simple ka do be kan no ka do be kan no ade monte ya na America akosho akun wo Venezuela monte say ya chi Venezuelan president ne wife first lady eyentia o etina dollar no nam wa ayi no $1 nam 25 cedis no they were always looking for excuses aso mu fi say o mema say ya timid fo bi ya nkos ya timilele fo bi ya nkos school as ye nimu nyansa ye nimu hwe Agyapa Mercer me say wo de anopede me ndili because o constituents adu dwuma amaye omo prosecute aljelu egu animu ase eti na seat ya NPP seat Agyapa Mercer we ye deputy minister energy we be ye minister of state wonimu gu ase 2024 no because o constituent we say we ye useless e de ma wo mo fa so bia ni so on beto abade ama NPP yes katra Ghana ni say emra ben e chese kan Ofori Atta me account e de na kan Ofori Atta ye GR sika yeah, Ghana commercial bank GC 50 Nesicano, yeah, the sell bomb 50 million Nesicano Ajira. Ni ye kana wo ka kire ye say Ken Ofori Atta is not under any obligation. Ken Ofori Atta me ko sign SML contract. E twisika puduo e wo bra obi anya adwuma. SML company ye timber firm and who adwuma no mo ye. Ni a sign contract, ni a tam wo man sika. We are talking about billions of Ghana cedis. Ni a di ama wo ho. And you are telling Ghana ni say, and so what? Yes, Ken Ofori Atta afum wo man na ye prosecute no. Ye fan court. Ye establish prima facie. Ye establish we are. Ye bet me a prosecute no. E wo bra woni Ghana ha. Our visa our UK, our visa our Canada, on free one call because Attorney General said by the end of this month you deporting the naba. I don't think any abre no ho. O fear la born in fear wo fear or properties wo Ghana ha. And to oba obedane dem. I don't think I nam ni legal teams when you abre say America phone deporting fanema because when we say onu o man na ndi ni ye we di wo man ne bone. Ken Ofori Atta nim se we di Ghana bone. Agyarko Agyapa Mercer alayafo local champions amugu Ghana ha. Mon kwa America na mon kwa kanche Trump say Ken Ofori Atta ya yarefo. Waye kidney transplant. Waye prostate surgery. Wo da aduro so woni ahoden etie release no. Niema no kwatena ni fie. Mon kwa America na mon kwa kanche Trump. Yen na manya ye ma fani party say from fool and na mo sole mo de ya adwen edi akro and then you get Ghana for na omu diwe no mu achi na omu soso na omu ni age party like NPP na Akufo-Addo in opposition political ambition presidential ambition over 40 years eyedede e ma power no wonya wieye opportunity onya yenya say obe destroy ne man owieye party na man power no oni na busuafo sen greed krono ne atiribode ne pese minkum nyanti no enye o man kwa na destroy no ne party kwa wa destroy ne party enti na Akufo-Addo pese na nimu tia on kan je Ken Ofori Atta say omra Ghana no me face Ghana law o person enimu tia onu anka sanka je Ken Ofori Atta say me na me your finance minister so mu hia wa come home brefie de be face wo man mra eye mra nyesa odu ba ya ne ajeliu eye process odu kotoka ne ya chi no ne ya hankofo ne ya di card na ko shem kakra eno kra ye me se ya angeli ni kwa no de dem 2 days 3 days kra ye be you okay be you okay Ken Ofori aye friend say chama wuntu ye angeli no so no kra say de order prison. I says, oh, go, I'm here. This is all the prison. Massa, ye near grow. Ye near grow, young say, and I President Mahama by, Adia, almost 8 years, essay, no. One way to me the best, just a few months, 1 year. I be Antina, Yenya Bibia, Munipa, and that Ken Ofori Atta because of his flip-flop policies. Now, Jim Bonenemo introduce you, and you pay who you will croma. Or be a banga Juma. No a done taxi driver because we're good na juma we're good bank sorry no pa no ahye no abotai ne car onya ye no de kwakọ ye wuba yango enya no na bu ankofo anka yasenko woni families aka no Ofori Atta break ye wo ese ye wo Ghana ha enkofo jai wo mu kuru no kofo jai wo mo yire no enkofo ma schools a wo mo kọ no e wo se ayi wo mu furu no mo pe school furu do mo kọ because Ken Ofori Atta policies the initiative plans be brought here and destroy family homes. And what do you mean? What do you mean, say? Over what TV so I catch a gun and he say, you creating impression. Say, Ubu a mine Yanka Agyapa Mercer. Ubu a mine Yanka Agyapa Mercer. Minister. Obi and when I am no one. So beauty or ye minister or ye member of parliament. Nan wa election wo lose poto hwe enkora youngsters youth omo parliament hwe dwuma wo mo ye wo mo constituency hwe dwuma omo ye e wo parliament ono wo kuje to abla kwa no wo position but the constituency each and every blessed day we jina na so unya news papa e ka no bo samokuje to abla kwa ho Doctor to forcing no opposition 8 years. But in the constituency, they be a winner and Papa John Jina Ponum mu age mate for mu good parliament. Unless some cast a seat no or mun pay beam or mun co beam. When I know or you from Pong. Asante Achim MP Agugo MP Otia. Independent MP. The first time when you want in the constituency away, Agyapa Mercer will be a minister. And now do 8 years. We are beneficial. What benefit pa? And then we are constituency. Constituency monumental project we are the papa and could be at 2020 we are more than 60% and can real proto 2024. Then the audacity said, oh, I got TV so I the day actually any possible catch a gun and he said kind of a is not under any form of obligation. Mukasa Mukwana motive form. I brought for no crown on me on broth class. I brought for a second common cabby. And I'm going to confuse you in the Padru Kroma, then go for Bo Mutinko. Juma papa and Kauda so a member of parliament and Nana Akufo-Addo and you may be a introduced to be Agyapa Mercer and a defender PDS Agyapa Mercer at the actual when TV so one year and the abbey just what trim or justify the also PDS Agyapa on PDS Pascal Coffee Agyapa by Agyapa mineral resource and no buy ye gold ye minerals no the HFN no and no Agyapa Mercer defend this because one no or benefit Lucas no he was part of it. What benefit ye tua taxes ye wu enkofo nyuma ye gu no omu bobosia ye ka Ofori Atta bosia ne dosuo Agyapa Mercer ye beneficiary entu obekwa kotena TV so anopa no we defend uni panete wade a wo defend we bisa say enipa we pa when was the last time or there sumye so adia minister NPP minister ebekwa kotena TV ni radio so wo defend no wo bisa say ana omuni sumye wo mu fi ana and answer say we party bi mu a enema fu bi akoso bi e be destroy wo man bia no we dey wadwuma ni say defend because directly we are beneficiary we nya bi abusuafo we lose ni seat eno kwa ye accountability kase de ma no we lose ni seat eno kwa no constituency kwa bu na tan kwa dada
Abuzia enti ensem no na yakwa akoti ade aba no wate ase na yebekọ na yakwa akoti ensem a lawyer Edudzi Tamaklo enso editu edwa okiremu a Ofori Atta eka kituwa bi enkana NPP for person mu jeli atofo sen omu person nka omu fa kwanwese nyina so na atofo sen omu de ne fa kwanbone so nyina no na obi a wo hye akiri oye the main architecture and I say oye the main person behind all that thing no na oye Ofori Atta I ni wodwane na obi sase siden ena ni fie chechirinche kakra isi laboni ha ena sebi boy na adwin sese fie no metina mu obetna America adan no wo nyapade BTC data bank owo a lot of companies ewo Ghana ha na still na we decide say o magana abusan yibisa we ensema Edudzi Tamaklo enso ade atu edwa na yebekọ ne akwa kutie lawyer Edudzi Tamaklo ensema oditu edwa no ebi na yekoba medina kaina ebeto aso mesrew so do comment betum na wa like na wa share na wa subscribe to the channel no for latest updates yenti sen bi yekoba ebeto aso.
I make this point in sharp response to the press conference organized by the minority not long ago, led by our old mother, Madam Patricia PIJ, where the minority sought to create an incident or create an impression that there is insecurity in the country. I want to thank IGP Yohonu and his officers for these major arrests. They are geared towards making all of us safe in our homes so that we can sleep in peace. So, to the men and women of the Ghana Police Service, I say Agyarko and continue the good work.
Okay. Now, from what the Ghanaian embassy is saying, the overtures made to Ofori Atta, And he says that without the presence of his lawyers, he has a right, of course, to refuse that support. But what do you make of the narrative so far, subsequently leading to that support that had been extended to him by the Ghana embassy?
Okay, thank you so much. I hope we will have the opportunity of maybe discussing briefly the groundbreaking payment done by the Ministry of Finance.
Yeah, we'll do that for the second. So.
The Ministry of Energy.
So once we keep
$1.4 billion legacy debts. Our lights have been on for the past almost a year, and I want to salute the Minister of Finance and my sector minister, Honorable Abdullahi Jinapo. But that said, on the substantive matter, you see, Roland, I am a firm believer of the rule of law and the respect for same. I have in the past 12 years in my law practice represented clients of diverse background, but mostly in terms of criminal defense practice, I have done a bit of work, and I have always advocated that anything that gives the ordinary Ghanaian the opportunity and the benefit of due process, that should be done. And we should never do anything to reduce those fundamental rights, particularly the constitutional provision on Article 19. And you have the benefit of the Constitution. Kindly read it for me, Article 19 of the Constitution.
So basically, I'll just go through.
And the heading relates to fair trial. Fair trial.
Fair trial.
The fair trial rules. And the reason for these fair trial rules is that it is no respecter of a person. Be you a Ken Ofori, be you an Edudzi, be you Boahin, be you a Roland, be you what. In the superior wisdom of the framers of the 1992 Constitution, they created in it these fair trial rules. And the reason for these fair trial rules is to ensure that any Ghanaian accused of any crime whatsoever should have the benefit of due process. And these rules have been given and elevated to constitutional pedestal. And that should tell you the strength. Again, if you look at Article 14, 15, on the right of a person who is under arrest or any form of investigation, the rights that should be accorded that person. All these constitutional rights have been put in place to ensure that any Ghanaian, regardless of religion, ethnicity, status, should be given that opportunity that they will proffer a defense. Look, Roland, I recall, as defense counsel in the NCA criminal matter in 2017, I remember an episode where we went to court before my Lord Justice Chebafo, now a justice of the Court of Appeal, where in the trial, listen carefully, in the trial, we had to consult our clients in open court whether or not we should object to a piece of evidence that is being offered against them or not, right in open court. So I remember one day, Sunday, I called my brother Randolph Chumesi, and I said, Randolph, the way this trial is going on, it will not help us. Let's do something. I remember drafting an application for discovery. I sent it to my senior Justice Rimsai for his comments, among other seniors. We filed it. We appeared before Justice Chebafo and moved an application for discovery in criminal matters. When we did, the then Attorney General, Madam Gloria Kufu, came to court and they opposed that application. Roland, it took the intervention of my Lord Justice Chebafo, who saw merit in the application and said, look, I'll refer it to the Supreme Court for interpretation and direction. That is what resulted, I'm sure, in the criminal procedure class. They'll tell you the Eugene Bafo-Boni decision on discoveries. That is how we did it. And I remember in that application, the then AG opposition was that allowing discoveries in summary trials was going to be burdensome and others. Today, through that referral by my Lord Justice Chebafo, the Supreme Court today had given direction, said that in all criminal matters, be it at the District Court, Circuit Court, High Court, or whatsoever, the accused person is offered the opportunity of discoveries. That is the kind of growth, that is the kind of constitutional development that we've had over the period. Now to the specific issue of Mr. Ken Ofori, and I needed to give this preamble so that we would all appreciate the development that had undertaken by Ghanaians over the period. Look, Roland, Mr. Ken Ofori from 2017 became the finance minister of this republic until he was replaced by the Honorable Amin Atta. Now get this, the finance minister is the protector, the number one handler of the public purse. Now if you recall, even in the Bible, the parable of the talents, you recall Christ tells us the story of a man who gave talents to his servants. He traveled, came back, and asked those servants, what sayest thou of the talents I've given to you? Accountability. So you notice that when we created this constitution, we provided in it that the governing principles underpinning this constitution shall be: one, probity, to probe, to ask questions; two, accountability, to account for your stewardship.
And you're saying this in relation to Ken Ofori?
Ken Ofori. So you notice that the governing principles underlining our current constitutional architecture is probity, accountability, and social justice. The reason for this principle should never be lost on any of us public officers. Not long ago, I had to appear before the Public Accounts Committee, but for some reason, my deputy had to go to account for the work I do. And that's why the name of the committee is what? Public Accounts Committee. Accountability. Now, in the specific case of Mr. Ken Ofori, you have been the person who, for all this period, have signed all onto our monies, committed this government, or the government of the Republic of Government, to Ghana, to financial commitments over the period. In fact, the law of what? The Public Financial Management Act is a Ministry of Finance Act. Now you have a situation where you have just been asked, come and account for your stewardship. The public fund that came into your hands, how you utilize it. Initially, we were told that you were not well, and so you needed medical assistance abroad.
His lawyer does indicate that he's recuperating and would only leave the jurisdiction based on his medical practitioner's advice.
You see, there is a statement by the Law Office of Minka Primo. Read it. You have it. Now, if you read that statement from the Law Office of Minka Primo, it is the mark of sheer insincerity on the part of Mr. Ken Ofori. That statement from the Law Office of Minka Primo puts the Ken Ofori narrative that he was not well, he was sick, and therefore needed medical attention into a different perspective. Because in that statement by the law offices of Minka Primo, they say Ken Ofori today is asking the United States authority to change his status. That is insincerity to the highest order.
How is that?
At the time,
because according to the statement,
carefully,
it says that it has a pending petition for adjustment of status.
Can you imagine this?
Is he not entitled to have that right?
That is the height of dishonesty. That is the height of insincerity. At the time, Mr. Ken Ofori wrote to the former chief of staff, Madame Fremont Parry, to permit him to travel abroad. It was for medical purposes. You get your treatment, you come back. You are now writing to the U.S. officers, and your lawyers have confirmed it, that the reason is that you want to adjust your status. You now want green card. You now want permanent residence. That is the mark of dishonesty. And we should not tolerate this.
Is he not entitled to
what it means is that when he said he was going to the United States of America for medical purposes, it was a ruse to escape from accountability.
That he had other ulterior motives beyond that?
And look, the lawyers for him, I wish they never wrote this statement. But it is good for public accounts. Because per this statement, his lawyers voluntarily are now telling the people of this country that Mr. Ken Ofori now wants green card. He wants permanent residence.
It's not been specified that.
No, but that's what it is. If you went with B1, B2 visas and now you want an adjustment, effectively what you are asking for is you want permanent residence. Why do you think Mr. Ken Ofori now wants to run away from the properties he had acquired?
I don't understand.
His own house at Labone here. Why is his own house now becoming like a haunting ground? Like a ghost, like ghost haunting him. You see, I have always maintained, and as a public official, I'm always minded about one thing. There is a day, like the Bible, a day for judgment, a day for accountability. So whatever we are doing, we are minded by this sacred thing. Now, you see, the reason why it's important that Mr. Ken Ofori is made to come back to Ghana to face his stewardship, to account for that stewardship, you know why? It's a lesson to all of us public officials. And Mr. Ken Ofori has become a bad influence.
How do you mean by a bad influence?
A bad influence in the sense that today, Edudzi here, if I'm giving public responsibility, I know tomorrow I will escape from justice.
How so?
I'll run to Togo. I won't go to America.
I'll go to that you're unwell?
Yes. Maybe for me, I'll go for herbal medicine and go to Togo. At least the Tamaklo and Noche and the rest. So I'll go and stay there.
As well.
And Benin, the Home Republic, where Agyarko used to be. I mean, that's going back home. Roland, what it tells you is that he had become a bad example for public office holders.
I don't understand. That if you are supposed to account, then you run away.
You run away.
Oh, Edudzi.
No, but what is it? And you see, Mr. Ken Ofori is not just any minister. He was the finance minister. Now look at our political history. From 1992, the Minister of Finance up to 1996 was Mr. Kwesi Botwe. Correct?
Correct, yeah.
Subsequently, it became Richard Kwampepra.
Yeah.
Nana Osafo Mafo. Then Kwejo Baredu. And we've had it till now.
Yeah.
Each one of them stayed in this country to go through the rigors of accountability. See,
but Ken Ofori is a man
who
is not accustomed to the environment of the United States. Indeed, went to school there.
You know, Ken Ofori's own father was a finance minister, Jones Ofori.
Sure.
After his stewardship, he didn't run away. He stayed in this country. In fact, he was MP.
He subsequently even contested NPP presidential candidate.
Now, you know the intriguing part of this conversation, Roland.
Edudzi, wrap up for me.
I will. Is the fact that Minister Kwampepra went through prosecution. Incidentally, do you know who prosecuted Minister Kwampepra? Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as Attorney General. Yes. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as President investigated Mr. Setekwe. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as President investigated Honorable Atta Forson. In fact, I remember vividly going to Yoko with Honorable Atta Forson in November 2017. In fact, when we went to Yoko
November 2017?
2017, for 4 years, Honorable Atta Forson was never called again by Yoko. You know what happened? E-levy, the budget was read on the 19th November 2021. that had in it e-levy, ranking on finance, Honorable Atuforsin raised an issue about the fact that e-levy was going to destroy the entire ecosystem. What happened? On 25th, so budget 25th November 2021, I was there when now Speaker Bagwe called that Yoko had written to him that they should allow Atuforsin to come back 4 years after an investigation, simply because Ken Ofori was annoyed that Honorable Atuforsin had committed on the e-levy. Just then, in Speaker Bagwen's conference room, Ato was charged.
And you represented him?
I was with him there.
You were his lawyer?
I was with him. And for almost 4 years, from 2021 until the Court of Appeal acquitted and discharged him, we were going to court back and forth. So if Minister Atuforsin can stay in this country for 8 solid years, Minister Setekwe 8 solid years, and went through the full rigors of the law, what is so unique? I have heard the other narrative that it is witch hunting. So far, who has investigated Mr. Ken Ofori? The Office of the Special Prosecutor, correct? October 2017, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo assented to the act establishing the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Did Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, Ken Ofori, and the NPP in 2017 set up that office to witch hunt people?
I don't understand.
That is the office that is prosecuting and investigating him. And so where from this narrative of witch hunting? Now, I'll conclude finally on this. President John Dramani Mahama, who even became president of this republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo wrote to the Office of the Special Prosecutor to investigate him and his family.
What's your point with this?
The point is that even the president, the former president, OSP, went to him, took his statement in the company of his lawyers. Due process. What is so unique about Mr. Ken Ofori?
I don't understand.
That he cannot.
Is that what you're claiming?
Even a former president, not minister, former president, went through the full rigors of Ghanaian criminal law and came out clean.
Lawyer Pierre Dankwa.
Does it not, is the impression not being created that if you are running away, it means you have committed some offense?
Who is creating that impression? He hasn't created that impression. Indeed, the onus lies with.
Why do you go for lawyers like?
With the prosecution.
Why do you go for lawyers like
to
John?
Prove beyond or reasonable
Why
doubt?
do you go for lawyers like John Ashcroft and the rest? If everything that you have done is above board.
But he's entitled to legal counsel.
And you see, in the specific case of a finance minister, what makes his role unique is that, like the wife of Caesar, you need to live above reproach. Of all ministers, the one that have direct financial fiduciary responsibility is that of the finance minister. And so I think that it's even in the interest of my brother's political party, the NPP, that Ken Ofori comes and account. So that in 2028, when you are campaigning, Ghanaians will not believe that if you vote for NPP in a very long future, their finance ministers will run away from accountability.
Dr. Kokubuahi has joined us. How are you? Where's Ken now?
Ken is in Accra.
Okay.
We're doing the Ayawaso block within this week. What we did is that we didn't finish Greater Accra, and we had to go into Ashanti region and come back.
Okay. So you're combining those two strong regions.
Yes. And then.
What's the response so far?
Oh, it's been good.
Okay.
It's been so massive.
All right.
Yeah.
And his comments as well as his campaign videos are replete on social media as well, particularly TikTok. Fiery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going so well.
Pierre Dankwa, the suggestion that, well, he has to come in country for accountability, so to speak, also cannot be justified, is it? Because he hasn't been proven to be guilty or otherwise.
So let me wish you all a good morning once again, and to say emphatically that I align entirely with the views shared here, as in so well articulated here by my learned friend Edudzi Tamaklo, and to say that over the between 2017 and 2024, we saw a government that in its dealings, in how it managed Ghana, behaved in a manner or governed Ghana in a manner that was adverse to our common agenda. That was adverse to the values, principles, and ideals clearly stated under our constitution. Because, like Edudzi rightly said, one of the very core values that underpinned our 1992 constitution are the values, one of a firm belief in the principles of the rule of law. I know that one of the fundamental principles of the rule of law is a belief that we are all equal before the law. We are all equal before the law. And two, a belief in the principle of probity and accountability. So that on 7 January 2017 and 7 January 2021, when Anadu took his oath of office, among the things he vowed to do was one, to...
I shall protect the public purse.
Even beyond that, he said he was going to protect, defend, and preserve the laws of Ghana. He said he was going to be faithful to Ghana. And that meant that he was going to be faithful to the values of Ghana. One of the core values were the values of probity and accountability. You recall that Nanado made it one of his core political mandates in his bid to protect the public purse, in his bid to uphold the principles of probity and accountability, the creation of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. So in 17 October 2017, right, Nanado assented to the act that created the Office of the Special Prosecutor. I think when he assented to that office, he showed his first act of unfaithfulness. Because he, being an astute lawyer, he knew that to create a body whose purpose was to be independent, to be non-partisan, and to be independent, then that body ought to have been created by an amendment of the Constitution.
Because Article 88?
Because of Article 88, the OSP is not independent. And you see that weakness in the OSP, in how Ken's case was issued, as it has been handled.
You mean the SMO case?
All the cases that the OSP, this current OSP, were cases that were done before February 2024. Because Ken resigned February 2024. I find it strange. I find it very strange that it had to take more than almost 2 years before charges were preferred against Ken. And you see, when Ken was leaving Ghana, the OSP was aware. He didn't do anything. I think I said it here. It's very strange that the OSP suddenly has the cojones to bring charges against Ken. But he will do that because, in my view, there's absolutely no commitment to hold Ken himself accountable. That's what Ken, I don't want to talk about him. Because clearly he's running away. You understand? Clearly he's running away.
He's running, huh?
Oh, he's running away.
The narrative is that he's entitled to
listen, he's running away.
Petition the United States for his visa status.
You see, in January, when Ken wrote the letter to the chief of staff, or when the OSP came out, Ken in that letter said he was leaving Ghana indefinitely. No, so indefinitely
for medical treatment.
Indefinitely. That's what he said. That was a clear intention. That listen, I'm leaving your jurisdiction. I have created a hole worth $97 million. I'm leaving your country. I have masterminded the SML deal. Millions of dollars lost to the state. I'm leaving your country. PDS. I've sat down and masterminded PDS. I'm leaving your country. I'm leaving your country. I won't come clearly. But you see, when it comes to upholding the principles of probity and accountability, yes, that duty falls on all public officials. But the institutions created to uphold those values failed us. Have you heard of the Obotan case? You know about the Obutan case.
Very well.
Are you not concerned that in spite of the Obutan case, in 2021, Ken was passed by the Parliament of Ghana to continue being a minister? Were you not worried? Even when he had 137.
Well, he went through the process.
And were you not worried that he was allowed to sail
The
to?
appointment-
Was it Suhini also who brought up
Were you not
Obutan during the
allowed?
vetting?
Were you not?
And we ignored it.
You understand? Because see, we've created the institution to uphold the principles of probity and accountability. It is for those purposes why we took upon ourselves a constitutional democracy. Constitutional democracy simply means that what? Limiting powers of government. You understand? So the executive does not have all the powers. We gave Parliament powers to serve as a check on the executive, to uphold the principle of probity and accountability. And in spite of that, our Parliament sat down and passed Ken when clearly we had the Obutan case. That meant that when it came to the question of integrity, he had something to answer. The question of integrity. He had something to answer. And yet Parliament sat down and allowed. Now, there's something that the NDC is doing very well. Because you see, I say so many times here that we do not give executive powers to the political party. We give executive powers to an individual. However, that individual is sponsored by a political party. And he's sponsored by the political party with the understanding that he's going to uphold the values and principles of that political party. And so there is a duty on the political party that where the president is sponsored is delivering a governance system, is delivering governance, one, which is adverse to the country, two, which is adverse to the party's stated principles, then the party has an obligation to call that government out. You recall that last year, the chairman of the NDC, Edudzi Tamaklo, called some judge to order on some issues. You've heard the general secretary of the NDC, and I must commend him for his stance he's taken. You understand? That he's not going to support any three-term agenda. Okay. So that is a responsible party. The NPP,
94 MP.
The NPP sat down and allowed Nanado to deliver together with Ken. You understand? To deliver governance which, in all intents and purposes, was adverse to the interest of the country. You understand? Indeed, then those 94 MPs showed their dishonesty to the country, because you see, you claim that you want the finance minister out because he's not working for the interest of the country. Should it matter that members of the minority,
vote of censure,
members of the minority, when they've taken steps, you understand, to remove what's it called, the said minister you claim was not good for the country, and immediately the minority take those steps, you suddenly go and support or oppose the attempt to remove. So then, what is your interest? Is your interest Ghana? And so what was the honesty or integrity in your call on the president to remove the minister? The NPP did this country a massive evil. Massive evil. Without this whole...
Being what?
Exactly. This whole Ken, and I'm telling you that, so they are one.
Because he hasn't been charged with any...
He's been charged. Ken,
criminal
charges, except that they haven't served him. But I'm saying that, you see, we sat down and allowed this man, we all claimed was not good for the country, and evidence are there. You have the case of the DDEP, the fact that monies were taken from our pockets. You have the criminal manner in which our economy was run for 8 years under his watch.
You see, even me, I would even urge caution on this note, that as learned friends, he's going to get the benefit of due process. You come, Keke, you come. Let's use brass band and things to go and meet you at the airport.
But you see, there's an onus. There's an onus. There's an onus on government. There's an onus on government to uphold the principles of probity and accountability. There's a duty on government
through the Attorney General
and the OSP, whatever, because see, it's not just about Ken coming, but you must first of all, we were criminally negligent in allowing him to leave the jurisdiction in the first place. But he having left, right now we are debating because the USA are not taking action they are taking because of Ghana. They are taking the action they are taking. They are revoking. In fact, the Attorney General is claiming
of clear breaches.
No. I think that we should set that record straight. I know on authority that the Attorney General of the Republic of Ghana reached out to the U.S. Embassy. The U.S. Embassy reached out to the State Department. The State Department revoked the license, specifically revoked the visa. So there was a specific revocation.
Okay.
And then they permitted him that, well, you can come back voluntarily. It is when he failed by November that in January the 6th.
Then engendered this.
Exactly. So there has been specific intervention by government of Ghana.
So if you listen to the Attorney General on Saturday, he made a claim that they revoked his visa June 2025.
Yeah. It was in July, actually.
Now he refused to give the reasons for those revocation.
No, it's because of the pending.
But in that interview, he refused to give. But having said that, like I'm saying, we have failed government. When I say government here, it's not about NPP or NDC because, like I said, Ken Ofori left office February 2024. Government sat down and allowed Ken to leave. Simple, what's called extradition action. There's a massive back and forth on it. As if there's no commitment on the part of government. Yes, because OSP is government for instance. You recall the Deputy Attorney General having issues with the OSP's refusal to give them dockets so that they can facilitate extradition processes. You understand? So for me, for Ken, he's running away. He's told you he's running away. He doesn't want to come. So you can call on Ken. His lawyers have told you clearly that the man, he won't come clearly. But the onus is on governments to do all in their power, you understand, in fulfillment of their mandates, to be upholders of the principles and values of probity and accountability, to get Ken here so that he accounts. Otherwise, you heard the NPP, one of the NPP officials saying on Saturday that there's nothing
Which NPP official?
I don't remember his name, but there's nothing in our laws that mandates that.
Roland, you are the moderator. Kindly read here. Here for the preamble.
Let me finish this. Let me finish.
Read the preamble.
We all heard an NDC senior man say that there's nothing in the laws of Ghana.
I mean NPP.
NPP. NPP. What did I say?
NDC.
Oh no, it's not NDC.
Please conclude for me.
Conclude. We all heard the NPP. In fact, is it Mercer? Agyapa Mercer. Say that there's nothing in the laws of Ghana that mandates us to hold political leadership accountable.
Oh, how?
Yeah, he said it over the weekend. You understand? But those statements will have sway if we do not set a clear precedent with Ken Ofori's matter.
Maybe
right.
they have
So the preamble, what's the essence of reading that?
Please read
okay.
here.
So the preamble, it says, in the spirit of friendship and peace with all peoples of the world, then in solemn declaration and affirmation of our commitment to freedom, justice, probity, and accountability.
Fantastic.
Why is it? Okay, I've got your point now. But Dr.
There's clear understanding of what he said.
Maybe it's
the lawyers.
No, it's not misconstrued.
Those who tend to support him.
Edudzi.
Hearing it's not everyone within even the opposition NPP that seem to be backing the narrative. Say that he's entitled to, well, whether change his immigration status or make a decision that you can try me in absentia because I have my legal team to respond to whatever allegations or charges that will be leveled against me in court. And rightfully, going by the same constitution, he's entitled to that, is he not?
Good morning to our good selves and then good morning to our viewers. And good morning to the Apostolic Church Ghana, my area church, North Canadian Assembly. Good morning to everyone. And
You're an Assemblies of God man?
No, Apostolic Church. Ghana. Okay. Apostle. And good morning to my constituency at University of Education, Winneba. Special regards to everyone. School has reopened, and I'm hopeful that, as usual, we are going to deliver, to the best that our students can gain from us. Roland, I think that from day one, I've maintained this position.
What's your position? I don't remember your position.
That Ken should come to Ghana on his free will, present his charges, or probably defend his charges, And if he feels that he's still not well and may want to go and then continue with the self-care, he could seek the permission of the courts. As it were, allow his lawyers to handle the case whilst he's absent. I think I made that point clear on this platform. And I think that some other people have echoed that position, that Ken, in his own best interest, should come. At least if you believe that you have not committed any crime, there's no point, for you to sit in another man's country, for you to go through, such processes to the point that, immigration and custom enforcement agencies would have to apprehend you, put you in custody, And from what we have heard from the AG's office, it appears that there is a kind of collaboration between his office and the United States, immigration enforcement agencies, to get his visa revoked and probably facilitate, his extradition to Ghana. I feel that, for me, Ken, I still maintain that position, that if he would come to Ghana on his free will, to face whatever charges, it will be good. It will be very good for his own.
Abusia inti eno na enena mitie news. Omo kiremu a enka omo yo madwin se delegation aban ni tu nipa nka omo yo madwin se omo kɔ na omo akwakohwe Kinu Furata the situation ICE US, that is immigration customs enforcement honum nanka omahwe na ja se ombedin eno de minim de bi fetchaba but entia min se kan se Kinu Furata so mpeso be hu bia ombeso be hu Ghana ni bia woni nchen ombeso bia betu ni nan asi ho se oyeden obehwe no obia betu ni nan asi ni nchen se oba weden oba behwe no what you say enti na chese eno nso sa na kwakosi but se de se te bia se na na mo Agyarko eka no se te bia by all means King Furata will come to Ghana because the man chi omuchi no omuguso omu yenhwehwemu because anya ne visa no and I expire because he had the opportunity to go to UK, he had the opportunity to go to Canada whilst he is in what America, but what they intentionally omu sheda and omu revoke ne visa no edina chese omu are suspecting him be all this while no omu ati ensem bi ekoso omu ati si Ghana fo hia no omu ati se wabe finance minister and we dwena kwatu no bi man so enti simple question na mo Agyarko bi sa na mene no eya adwen simple question na mo Agyarko na obi sa me mega me wo hoyi mene no eya adwen pa Adena kinufurata ono okase wanya waye omokan surgery omaye ne surgery no omaye no timi mfa magana emme ye trials anase emme testify anase timi mfa magana emme di akwade aba adena US for chene de wanka se omaye no surgery anase US for detect say owura ikura sa waye surgery just some few days anase some few weeks ago into o say jama. You see, that is why they be American Ghana yembra no. I don't know what is wrong with us. Emrano emu go to the extent say obi et me ye de opi okuruma. Say na lawyer Edudzi Tamaklo eka no. Se kinufurata bag amagana na otna honoma it will be as a precedent. It will set a precedent. Bia bedi o man so eka kakra bi na se o hu se na ban o muto ba wi na mu ko position na wayi bam na okọ na why then wayi bam na okọ because he or she knows very well say okọ the coming back be very rigid. It is going to be difficult for the person to return and be accountable to the people. Secondly, oba nso a obehu se na yenko court yenye sei attorney general obehu se na oyesi ebewi akiri no na akoye se chairman wuntumi die no bi se mokai chairman wuntumi last month, that was December, on the 14th attorney general beka kire so mo hye omo way na se prosecution na se up to now yenya brief bia se ekosen yet is ono ankasa ni former manager Koku ebeka se o testify against him eno nso yante ho asem yante ho bibia ada na mo fa yiso what you say yante ho asem yante ho bibia o abusuafo enti se kinufurata baga na kra na ebeduru baabi no na akoye se ye kovano ye man state security na ye de oman ni sika nya be sheldon from accountability. That is how it is going to happen. Se na mami kan Agyarko edi so oba na se de maka na asem since the inception of NDC aban, that is exactly a year now in a woman maka kinufurata asem saa na oba na mo sheldon na se ye hu charges bia mo de bebo no ama owura no and ankodem na se one I don't know even what to say. Yenemudi wukruma. Not only kinufurata to come to Ghana. Enko say freedom fighters no pa mumbra Ghana yebechiw, opa mumbra Ghana yebechiw for mumbra na omune na mo. Free, scot free. What is it? Enti yesremo. Yewra Dominica yine. Attorney General only deputy Justice Sre anything the obo Sre. You people must make sure say the law will work, and whenever kinufurata set foot in this country, he will be treated accordingly. Because wama Ghana for ya bre. I was say ye chino na didn't question. I mean, say who attorney general office say him from before sending prosecution because he must face a bitter trial. Although it will be fair, but I was some money than extraordinary. What in the mature na say be ya be wi achi no obi to one ma e be set as a precedent, e be set as what an example. Say nyame ya do na say me so menya ban mutina na me ye bibi say ya this is how I'm going to suffer. E ba say ma corruption enye nkrofo de okrum ha emma corruption enye what very just e be say a whole lot of things. Inti media no na makan meso so the comment betum na wa like na wa share na subscribe to this very YouTube channel. Yakupo ya ro bese ehia makra bye bye.